It's the Rangers Journal night.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your Rangers Journal pre-match podcast this Sunday, the 24th of August, against St Mirren. Now, I had a whole script written out for this, and then the big man went and dropped the lineup, and it's thrown the whole thing into chaos. So, to make sense of all this, I've got Ryan and Cammy. Ryan, start things off. How are you?
Yeah, too fine. Usual, kind of a bit groggy on a Sunday morning, but I'm fine.
Cammy, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
It has. I look forward to this. St Mirren away is never a pleasurable watch, but it's about just trying to win the game. And what if it's a performance? Great, but I think it's vitally important that we get the 3 points today and try to kickstart our league campaign, which hasn't happened so far.
I think so. Right, this is it. This is the game. It has to kickstart the league campaign because the next league fixture's the biggest fixture of the season. So if we don't start now, you're leaving it hell of a late to try and start next weekend, aren't you? So we'll go straight into the lineup then, and then we'll talk a wee bit about St Mirren and stuff. There it is. Ryan, any noticeables for you there?
I look as if Craig Levine's taking over as Rangers manager and we're going 4-6-0.
Yeah. I say totally flummoxed me whenever I've seen this. Cammy, what's your thoughts?
It's an interesting one. We haven't created, no matter who you could have had Erling Haaland up front in the last few weeks. We're not creating enough chances. We're not moving the ball quick enough. So regardless of personnel, that's the issue for me. It's not really about who's playing. It's about how you approach it, sort of situation. But I think I've seen somebody, I think Doug in the comments has said Asgard. I think it is very much probably false nine. Try to get runners for midfield. That's what my Pep Guardiola tactical approach thinks it's going to be. Anyway, but we just have to wait and see. I would probably have started with Tav, to be honest with you, at right back. I just think this is a guy that knows, has been to St Mirren on many occasions, has got a good scoring record actually. There in the past, that's what I would have went for. But the manager's obviously going to stick with what he wants, sort of situation. But it's how we approach the game, Jock. That's the key. There should be no surprises. How St Mirren set up and what we need to do to win. Diomande not starting, I think, is. It has to happen. He hasn't kicked a ball so far this season, to be honest with you. And I think when you're in possession of the shirt, it doesn't necessarily mean it's yours. It's about earning the right to keep that shirt. Nico got taken out of the team 2 or 3 weeks ago and came back in by coming off the bench and putting in performances. So it'll be interesting. I don't think anybody would have predicted that starting 11, that's for sure. But we'll see what comes in 50 minutes' time.
Ryan, Cammy's talking about the shirt's not guaranteed, which echoes true for practically a lot of this Rangers team over the last couple of years. Obviously, now, as we see there's no Danilo. Is that do you think that there's something underlying there, or do you think we need to wait and see what the manager comes out and says during the pre-match presser, or do you think Danilo's out?
He's been very poor, Jock, to be honest. He's done, although he did score the goal against Bruce last, during the week, it's a tap in. All the work's done for him. Any striker worth his socks, he's been borderline diabolical, to be honest with you. He couldn't even occupy 2 Alloa centre halves the weekend that he played. So he's been very poor. And the fact that somebody who doesn't even play up front is taking his jersey off him is just a testament to how bad it's been for him. So he's got to take it on the chin. He's got to get his head down and work hard if he wants to still be here at the end of the season, if he gets shipped out this window, the January window. But he's not been great. So you can understand why the manager's done it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the subs. I know they've cut off at the bottom there. That's my poor photoshopping skills. We've only got Egan Man up front. Now, the manager has said earlier in the week that he's not fit enough to start games yet. Cammy, do you obviously expect to see him in the second half?
Well, I think Asgard's probably. I hope he doesn't come out and say this in his pre-match right enough, but I don't think Asgard's probably fit to play 90.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be like for like. Finlay Curtis, I've spoke about him before. This is a wee guy that knows where the back of the net is. I'm not saying he's a number 9, but in the latter stages of the game, he's the type of player that I think, as he has shown so far this season, that he knows where the back of the net is. But I think Danilo, it's just one of those. I think the injuries, his Rangers career's never really got started, to be perfectly honest with you, because of injuries, and he looks a pale shadow of the guy that we thought we were signing a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's always he had sort of wee purple patches, and then he gets an injury, and then it just sets him back, and he's just always been sort of fighting an uphill battle, really. And I think myself and some of the other guys in the pod thought this might be, a full pre-season and then good run of games. Thought this could be it. We could actually see something from him now. But it's just not worked. But then again, is that down to the system that he's having to play in and get used to?
See the thing is, Jock, I said earlier on, you could have had Haaland up front. We're not creating enough chances. That has been the problem in pretty much every match so far this season.
No.
And until we stop messing about with the ball at the back, get the ball in behind for the wide players to show their qualities, allow them to go on the outside as well as cutting inside, allow your two fullbacks. It showed on midweek what can happen when you play the ball inside the fullback for somebody to run onto. If we can get St Mirren turning today, but if we just pass and pass and pass, it'll be a long 90 minutes, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's the approach. The approach is the key today. Approach the game correctly, we win the game. Approach the game in the way that we have done so far this season, it'll be a real struggle.
Yeah, it'll be a tough watch, that's for sure. Ryan, Rothwell for me is a bit of a surprise in that midfield, considering where we're going. Do you think he'll do all right today? I'm beside Cameron. I think Cameron's one of the ones that has to constantly keep starting. I think we just need to keep playing him. Yeah.
I was disappointed Cameron get dropped against Bruges, to be honest. Yeah. I thought he's been really good. We missed his industry in the middle of the park. I thought, since the wee guys came in, spoken about he's maybe not the most glamorous signing, coming from Dundee. He wasn't a manager signing either. He was agreed in January. But I think the wee man's been absolutely great. I've got concerns, speaking about Rothwell, I've got concerns over Raskin and Rothwell in the same midfield. I find that they're both kind of trying to occupy the same space and trying to do the same job. In an ideal world, I would like to actually see either Raskin or Rothwell playing in the 6 with Cameron and probably Asgard. I think there's still actually space for us to go out and sign somebody else. I think Diamandi has obviously been dropped for a reason. So I would like to see that, but I do have concerns over Rothwell and Raskin. I think they're both needed within the team. I do think you need to have a defensive element within your midfield and have somebody that's in there that's organising and holding a line. Obviously the centre halves like to play quite high. We've seen it, done with success in the past where the 6 actually drops in as part of a back 3. But I just don't think at this moment in time it's gelling properly. I don't think there's harmony within the midfield. I don't think it's kind of coming together as well as what Russell Marlin. It's obviously shown because it's the football that he's trying to play is just not happening at this moment in time. I think we need to I think we're maybe still about 3 or 4 signings short from where the Martin wants to see the team.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And we've obviously plenty going out the door this week. Well, hopefully there'll be plenty of activity coming in, which is needed, even though the squad is still quite big. These guys need replaced, and we need replaced with quality. So the recruitment team's got a busy week ahead. Cammy, looking at Magoma there, he did all right in his first start. Are you expecting more of the same today?
I hope so. I think he certainly looked second half. Him and Gassama looked as though they had a good understanding. I think you want to see that on both sides. you want Aarons and Ant-Man. I thought Ant-Man's been pretty quiet after a really positive debut against Pilsen. You want that on both sides. If the two players on the fullbacks can combine with the guys in front of them, that's I think that's the plan. To go back to what Ryan was saying, I think Lyle Cameron, this is a guy that has played at this venue so many times. Knows where another player that knows where the back of the net is, and in a Rangers team, in a Rangers squad that doesn't have enough players that know how to score goals, I think it's vitally important that he is part of the middle three. I think it would have been the three that Ryan said. If we had a centre forward, I think Asgard would have been one of the three in the middle of the park. But I think we're in a situation where I think he's changing a lot. He's changing game to game, and I don't think that's helping us try to build any consistency and understanding. Hopefully, once we've beat them next Sunday, we can kick on after the international break and get more consistency in the selection, because I don't think changing the personnel game to game is helping us build up any understanding, to be honest with you.
Ryan, just as Cammy touches on the international break there, I think it's going to be important for us because it's going to be time on the pitch with just the core players, obviously, that aren't away, because it's something he's not going to get, because we've been Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday. We're playing in that sort of window of games where it's just expected for us this time of the season because of the European qualifiers. He's not got that time on the training pitch with them. It's all a bit more sort of recovery sessions and maybe small prep for what's coming up. Do you think that'll be helpful for us, especially if we get new players in the door?
Aye, but I hope he doesn't give them the time off, because quite often with international break, the managers are quite often, you'll see players with posting stuff on Instagram. They've disappeared out to Marbella and Dubai, and they've managed to get themselves a wee quick holiday in. So I'm hoping he does the right thing and actually keeps them here and keeps them playing. If they were doing really, really well, and they win all these games, qualify for the Champions League, sitting pretty at the top of the league, I would say, right, boys, you've had a right good month. Go take a few days to yourselves, but we haven't. So I think you actually need to get them in and get them earning their wages. I've got a wee bit I'm just looking at who St Mirren have started with. You were speaking about Makoma there. It's going to be a different challenge for him today. He's probably going to come up against Ayunga from St Mirren. So they've got two big powerhouses up front, and they've got the boy Mandron, they've got Ayunga. So you probably find that anything kind of set piece wise, Gogic is going to be coming up. So we've got to be ready for a kind of physical battle today. And you've got Aarons and Makoma there as the two kind of fullbacks, and nothing against them. They don't strike me as the kind of guys that are ready to go and push 6 foot forward, 6 foot odd centre forwards about. So we've got to be very mindful and tactical in what we're doing. We've got to protect ourselves there, and so we don't get caught out.
Well, I think that's the fear, isn't it? Especially during midweek, where you've seen that zonal marking system, and you've seen how easily and how quickly it was picked apart. To what was the first real set piece, second set piece, and they scored a goal from it because the system just didn't work. They just picked holes through it. You're talking about physicality. This will bring me on to then basically how we've done against St Mirren over. I picked the last 3 seasons. Last season was our worst out of the 3. 2 losses, 1 draw, and 1 win. One thing I did notice last season was we were ragdolled at the back. Their physicality was a problem for us and something that we struggled with, particularly at Ibrox. They didn't care. They didn't show us any respect at all, which obviously they really shouldn't. But I think it showed the defensive frailties we have. Cammy, obviously going on last year's record, are you expecting that to continue into this season, or is it you want a clean slate because it's a different team in that respect?
Well, I don't want to go all Russell Martin, but that's what he's going to say. Yeah, he's going to what players have done previously is immaterial. What the players that have played here many times have to mentally forget about the difficulties that they've had here in the past. So it's how you approach it mentally and physically. Without sounding too cliched, that's it. You have to win your battles all over the pitch and that sort of situation, but actually go out and believe I'm a better player than this guy that's up against me. I'm going to show him that I'm a better player. So we can talk about tactics and systems and all that sort of stuff ultimately, as an individual, you go out and win your battle against the guy that you're up against. And if 8 or 9 of the 11 players win their battle, then you'll win the game, sort of thing. But the physicality, Tav, that's another reason I would have played Tav, because he's good in the air in both boxes, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't want to be coming on here at 2 o'clock doing the post-match and saying I told you so. I really don't. But the two fullbacks being Redvan-esque in their aerial abilities, I think they're going to be tested. So Fernandez and Suter are going to have to head and kick everything their way. I don't want to see the two playing passy with each other. When the ball gets launched into the box, head it, boot it, get it away. It doesn't need to be pretty. It's just about defending properly.
No, I think you're spot on. Ryan, I picked the last 3 seasons when I was just doing a bit of prep this morning, and 12 meetings, 10 of these have been under their current manager, Robinson. We've got a 66% win rate over them, which is one of the higher percentage rates against the rest of the teams in the league. Is that a good omen going into today's game, you think?
Well, I mean, let's be honest, it should be higher. We're Glasgow Rangers, and we're playing against teams with a fraction of the budget that we've got. 66%, although it's good against, other teams in the league, again, it should be higher. We should be, 90s for every single team in the league apart from our old firm rivals. We should be, scrape the floor with every single team that we're playing against, because look at the size of the budget, look at the quality of individual, the wages that we play. So 66%, okay, it's a decent enough omen, but it should be better. And we've got to aspire to get better. We've got to be taking these jobber teams and beating them at their own game. Every bye kick that's going to be taken today, they're going to be hitting it out to one of the fullbacks. It's either going to go towards Makoma or it's going to go towards Aaron. Are you either going to find Ayunga's going to be standing on him, or you find that Mandron's going to be standing. So we've got to help out these wee guys. And we've got to make sure as well that we don't lose the same goal that we did the first goal on Tuesday. Because every time they get the ball, they're just going to launch it. They're going to launch it and say, right, big man, you go and run onto that, get us up the park. And it's old school, and it works. And unfortunately, we struggle to play against it. So Butland standing at the edge of his D when our centre-halves are in their half isn't going to be good enough today. He needs to be at least 5 or 10 yards further forward. So if that ball does come up and our centre-halves are struggling, he's there to stick the ball into the railway. So it has to be better today. We've got to be mindful. Although we've got to worry about ourselves, yes, but we need to be mindful of what they're going to try and do against us as well. We've got to wise it up. We've got to get better.
Yeah, 100%. Folks, Doug on the podcast done a mini breakdown, or sorry, the lowdown as he calls it, on how to beat St Mirren. So I'm just going to post the link for that into the chat now. That's just in case you don't want to watch any of the guff that Sky's going to be serving us up before the match. I'll go then to predictions. Cammy, what's your score predictions for the day then, after seeing the lineup and getting your feelings out there?
I think we'll get a narrow 2-1. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think there'll be. I always joke about people needing nappies to watch Rangers. I think you'll need a good supply of them to watch it this afternoon, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's vitally important we get the win. I would love us to play like Barca 2010 and win 5-0, but it's not going to happen. So I'll go for a 2-1, and I think we might have to come from behind, to be perfectly honest with you. And we very rarely start these 12 o'clock kickoffs brilliantly, but hopefully I'm wrong. But I think Rangers will come out on top at the end of it, Jock.
Ryan, I think Cammy's right. I think they will score. I think it's going to be tight, because say last season's games was a 2-2 draw, a 2-0 loss, a 2-1 win, and a 2-1 loss. So the games are usually quite tight. What's your thoughts?
A wee bit different, Cammy. If we go behind, I don't think we'll have the mentality to come back. I think we'll struggle. I think the pressure and all this kind of stuff that they speak about will just get a wee bit too much for them. I'm not going to give you an actual score prediction, but I'm going to predict that the first goal's the winner. So whatever team scores first will go on and win the game. Whether it's ourselves, we go 1-0 up, it maybe kind of rejuvenates us and we go on and start having a right good game. The pressure comes off and they actually show what they're made of. Whereas if we go 1-0 down, I think we could collapse.
Jeez, right, okay. Personally, I think I do think there'll be goals. I think it could be 2. I think I'm saying 2-2. I can see another draw here, and we don't really go any further forward. In terms of the prep for the next game, the Old Firm game, he maybe has one eye on the European game, which you could argue is maybe bigger at the moment in terms of money. Although, as Cammy's shaking his head there, we all know it's not. The bread and butter is the league, and it's where at the moment we're faltering quite badly, and we just haven't got up and running yet. So I think I'm going to say 2-2. I think it'll be another draw, and I just hope that his words that he said during the week there, that we won't see goals at that conceded again, doesn't come back to bite him in the backside, because I think we're going to see more of that this season. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Cammy, for coming on and hearing your thoughts after seeing that lineup.
No, it's been a pleasure. It's always good to talk. I just hope that I'm on with Mitch at 2:00 and we're happy and we're not doing a post-mortem. It's way too early. I always end up with a post-mortem post-matches, so it's way too early in the season for me to do that. So let's hope Rangers turn up. The manager and all the players, we know what we're going to face. We've spoke about it. Nothing that's going to come to the Rangers players today should be a surprise.
Yeah.
But how they approach it, and these are the games that Rangers struggle in and have struggled in across the last 4 or 5 managers. And I'll say this until I'm blue in the face, until you can beat the other 10 jobbers, as Ryan calls them, you're never going to win a league title. And going to St Mirren and getting 3 points is part of that. That's what the other side of the city does consistently. And until we can get our mentality and our performances in that place, and hopefully that starts today and we're having a positive post-match.
Spot on, Cammy. Ryan, anything you want to close with?
No, just I think this is a bit of a sliding doors moment. I think this game could be a real sliding doors moment for Martin. If it doesn't go his way, nothing less than a win, then it could be something that we reference back on, later on in the season. Is this was the moment that he had to win a game, that this, the knives are out and he's got to make sure he's ready for them.
No, I think you're spot on. Folks, enjoy the game, and as I say, join Cammy at 2:00 for the post-mortem. Hopefully it's a decent one. Just remember, every day is the Rangers Journal night.